about I wanted to talk about this issue of racism that's going on. And I was going to write something, but I decided that it would just be best to just speak from my heart about um, just everything. I mean, it's just not possible for me to care to cover everything, obviously, but particularly as we start talking about race and racism. One of the things that I don't think people really fully understand is how much people have made money off of racism. I mean, people are full on out here rolling in it off of the suffering of other people. Racism is systemic. It's not just a one time thing. It's been going on since time was time. And what I found that was so profound about the murder of Mr. George Floyd was just it mimicked what Black people have been experiencing through racist policies and procedures and behavior and different things. And what do I mean by that? The knee to the neck, the hands behind the back, holding him down, and people standing around twiddling their thumbs. That's what we've been experiencing our whole lives. Like literally suffocating and choking the life out of him to make it difficult to not only breathe, but move and function. That's what a lot of the policies and the things that have happened to Black people over the years, and the prison system and a lot of these laws that are on the books. People like, we don't need this, we need new law. There's a lot of laws on the books, a lot of things that aren't enforced, but we don't have the control. People say, oh, we don't have no candidates. Have you put a candidate forward? And when we do put a candidate forward, again, racist policies, folks subvert that. So you can't even get anybody on the inside that looks like you. And when they are on the inside looking like you, they're still powerless because they're outnumbered. We're outmanned, we're outgunned. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'm probably not going to get through this without crying, so you'll be all right. So the fact that people have literally amassed wealth off of the suffering of others is just disgusting. But we're specifically talking about Black lives and the fact that Black lives matter. And it's not about all lives, blue lives. It's Black lives matter for a reason. Why? Because traditionally speaking, Black lives have not mattered. And we've seen this time and time and time again. And, I saw a tweet. It was so ignorant. It pissed me off. And yes, I did a Facebook post about it. This guy was talking about, Taylor Swift spoke out about, George Floyd quicker than your favorite rapper. Are you serious? Homie, you might want to sit this one out. Because Black rappers have been talking about police brutality for years. Years. NWA, Public Enemy, Eazy-E, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Ice-T. Do y'all forget the movie Colors? I mean, Boys in the Hood. We can talk about rappers and movies that have shed light on stuff. But when the rappers were talking about it, then they got dubbed as gangster rap to make it look like, oh, these are criminals and it's not the police, it's them and it's gang activity, which was still a lie. Yeah, we got gang activity, but it didn't change the fact that there was still police brutality. And we haven't learned over the years. And so when you see comments like that, it's like, you need to sit this one out. So because it wasn't communicated the way you wanted it by somebody that looked like you want to tear down and say that rappers haven't been talking about it. They've been talking about it for years. You just didn't want to hear it. And now, why are people are speaking out? Because it hit your door. See, people don't respond and want to do nothing until it hits their door. Black people have been abused and trampled on for millennia. Like, this ain't new. Like, Black people full on been getting tore out the frame for ages. And it hasn't always been a lot of other races until the suffering hits the door of white people, Asians, Hispanics. They ain't nobody said nothing. They ain't open their mouth. It was, oh, Black people on their own, fend for yourself. But now it's hitting your door. And now we are seeing more people rallying. But up until this point, you ain't seen folks, not too many people run to there was no, you just didn't see it. Now, I'm not saying that there weren't white people who, back in the 60s and they risk it all, because Jane Fonda was about that life. Like, you had some, but it hasn't been enough to stop it. And then, when we have a little unrest, we'll throw little crumbs their way and that'll make it go away. And that's the problem. We accept crumbs along the way rather than saying, I want it all. You can't have equality when you sit here and settle for crumbs. People want to rape and pillage and loot Black people and our success and our genius and everything that we have to offer. They want that, but they don't want us. Why do I say that? Huey P. Newton. They took his whole thesis, his whole dissertation, and everything he did for the Black community, turned it, used it, murdered him, used his thesis to create the whole system that we now have of government assistance. Found a way to make it so hard for Black people to qualify for it. But then white people will turn around and say, oh, my tax dollars are keeping them on welfare and supporting them, when the reality is, statistically speaking, there's more white people on assistance than Black people. Not only that, it's a whole lot of working white people. And a lot of them work for Walmart. When we work to support ourselves and take care of our own community, it's not enough. Yesterday was the anniversary of the burning of Greenwood, Oklahoma. And if you don't know about it in Black Wall Street, you need to do your research. You should know. I did it. I talked about it in Black History, my Black History videos this year. 6 city blocks burned to the ground. But yet, when Black people riot, it's a problem, because you won't hear us. When we peacefully protest, it's not enough. It's a problem. It's oh, shut up, and oh, that's this, and da 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 da. But rioting is the only language people understand. Why? Because when green is impacted, people wake up and pay attention. They burnt 6 city blocks of Greenwood, Oklahoma, a very prosperous Black community. And that was all those people had. Those people put their money together. We had the most successful black doctors and lawyers and seamstresses and cleaners and bankers, all of that. It was all they had. And people pulled their money together. White folks came across the tracks to shop in Greenwood, in that community, because the quality was there. And off of a lie of a white woman lied, 6 city blocks got burnt to the ground. How many times are white women going to lie, and it costs lives? It costs everything that Black people have. White women lie, and it kills everything. That's how you get the Amy Coopers or whatever from Central Park. That's how you have this whole mentality of, I'm going to use my privilege as a white woman and I'm going to scream bloody murder and lie and risk somebody's life. You got athletes that have gone to prison off of a lie because some white girl said he raped her and there was no proof. And then she come back and say, no, you need to go to jail. Emmett Till, that woman lied. That boy was 14 when he was murdered, just brutally murdered. And then she 92, 93 years old talking about, oh, I need peace and clearing my conscience. Are you serious? I love Jesus, but you deserve to rot in hell. because you were that wicked and evil that you cost a man a life, and you've created this whole culture of white women that lie and use their privilege against Black people. How many? See, this is what we talk about. You get wealth, you get money, you get status, you get power off of the Blacks and off the backs and suffering of Black people specifically. And we supposed to just be okay? No, we have the National Guard here too. The National Guard was in Jacksonville before they actually announced the National Guard was coming to South Florida. They sent them here, but they was in Jacksonville first. But y'all, we can't sit here and be disorganized. I'm not saying don't do what you do. Oh no. Because at this point, until you start affecting them financially, you ain't gonna get nowhere. It is what it is. Because that's what they understand. I'm not a violent person by nature. I'm genuinely not. But I understand that you can't sit by and be Jamaica Traj, I love peaceful all the time. Christians, I love Jesus. Yes, I am. But we can't sit here and act like Jesus didn't flip over tables in the Bible, because he flipped over tables in the church and told people off because they was wrong. But right now, we need Old Testament God that sent fire from heaven and burnt up two whole towns called Sodom and Gomorrah. We need Old Testament God that got angry because he got sick of hearing, racism, hearing from the children of Israel crying out for years and years and years because they were enslaved by the Egyptians. That's racism. Slavery in Egypt, that ain't nothing new. But guess what? You ain't gonna get free being peaceful. Show me where freedom came from a peaceful march. You want freedom, but we want freedom when it looks pretty with flowers and all that kind of stuff. And that ain't how it's gonna come. You gotta fight for freedom. Freedom comes at a price. We go to war to free other nations, but we won't go to war to free our own country. Slavery in America did not end because people marched peacefully. Slavery ended in America because people fought. They fought back. You can't sit here and be like, oh, flowers and we're gonna peaceful protest and power to the people. Yeah, you need power to the people, but you need action too. You also got to be smart, because if you outmanned and outgunned, what you gonna do if it ain't nothing but more Black bodies in the street? Because that's what they want. Y'all have to understand that natural selection is real. Coronavirus ain't going nowhere. I still see it on the news here locally. You also have to know that there are people planted inside to incite violence. It's documented. Like, I just saw a video last night, literally, of a guy showing a police officer on top of a police cruiser surrounded by police officers. And what was he doing? He was literally bashing the windows in on his own police car. They're literally shooting rubber bullets at the media who are showing their credentials, and they're still shooting them. Because accountability has come. So you can't be like, oh, what's God's response? God already told you what to do. Go and read the Old Testament. Because every time there came a time for freedom, there was a fight, baby. A civil war is here. Stuff burning. But I can tell you right now, stuff burning, Black people ain't the ones burning it. Black people are the ones telling folks to stop burning. I just saw a video of a woman that full on had 2 grocery bags, 2 shopping bags, looting an Urban Outfitters store. White woman. She had 2 of them big shopping bags, 1 on each arm. Shopping. Y'all all saw the one where the white woman running through Target with 2 lamps, 1 in each hand, arms full, running out the door. Black people standing around looking, trying to figure out why, because they don't even know the layout of Target to understand what they need to be getting. or where to go to get anything. We have to be smart about how we move forward. And we can't put everything on social media. We need to go old school. Hey, we having a meeting. And if you got to be cryptic and be like, okay, we're going to scan you and screen you before you can come up into this meeting, because we ain't got time for no plants to be on the inside, taking intelligence back to XYZ. We serious about what we about to do. If we got to go old school Black Panther Party, how they used to do, you got to do what you got to do, because freedom comes at a price. It comes at a price. And there can be no revolution without bloodshed. It's the bottom line. And we got to this point because we hit the tip of the iceberg. George Floyd, that man cried for his mama. That woman died 2 years ago. Y'all murdered him on the anniversary of his mama's death. Are y'all serious right now? Killed this man. And he called for his mama. I can't even imagine the hell and the pain of knowing you finna die, knowing like death is there, like I can't breathe and I see my mama. That's the only peace that man had before he died, was he saw his mama and called for her. Are y'all serious? And the answer is, oh, we need to be peaceful. Hell to the no. Peace, we lost peace a long time ago because we didn't learn from Rodney King. We ain't learned from when they killed Malcolm and Martin. We ain't learned from Rodney King. We ain't learned from none of that. We ain't learned from no Trayvon Martins. We haven't learned from Sandra Bland, Eric Garner. We haven't learned from the 4 little girls of Birmingham. We ain't learned when they killed that black church in South Carolina when all them 9 people died. We ain't learned. We haven't learned because they don't want to. Let me tell you something. Racism doesn't end because people don't want to. There's a problem. You gonna solve it, but to solve a problem, you have to first want to solve the problem and stop it. And the reason why there's no answer to stopping racism is because too many people are getting rich off of dead black bodies. Period. Too many people getting rich off of black people. Oh, don't believe me? The NFL, the NBA, pick a sport. Pick a freaking sport. NCAA, D1. Pick a sport. Y'all make a whole lot of money and then tell these athletes you can't make no money while you sweat and dang near kill yourself on a freaking football field or a basketball court to make them. You a coach at a D1 school, NCAA making millions of dollars, and the moment a player get an ounce of money, you gonna be like, oh, they can't play? Because you don't want them to make no money. Are you serious? It's too much money in being racist. Don't believe me? Okay, pull out every black athlete in D1 NCAA schools and send them to a HBCU. How about that? See what your athletic programs look like when you got an all white sports team. And I'm not saying there are not talented white players. I'm absolutely not saying that. But look at FSU. Look at UM. Look at UCF. Look at LSU. The majority of the players look like me. They black. You making money, baby. And these schools get top dollar. Them alumni I'm talking about millions, buku dollars into their athletic programs. But you as an athlete, you can't get nothing. And you standing there on this block because somebody is looking at your body to examine to see just how good you're going to be. It's the same thing they did with black slaves to see how strong he going to be and how much work we can get out of him. But then the moment a black athlete got the unmitigated gall to take a knee in a peaceful protest because a U.S. serviceman told him that was the best way to do it and the most respectful way, you blackball him and you give him hell for it. Now we here today and you talking about, oh, you should be peaceful protesting. We already did that. We already did that. And you don't answer that. You don't hear that. Because that was affecting your money. People was threatening to take I ain't getting no season tickets no more because I ain't here to see that. But now, oh, you really threatened because ain't nobody making no money. How many people supported Cube when Cube started his 3-on-3? I was here for it. He got AI. He got I was here for it. I'd rather watch Cube's league than the NBA. And trust me, I'm a Heat fan. Play it, win, lose, draw, die, whatever. I'm a Heat fan. No cap, no problem. I'm a Heat fan. But trust and believe, I was ready to see Cube. I was ready to see that 303. Because that was a black man putting his money there to create something for us by us. Shout out to FUBU. Why? Because only thing people understand is green. And when you threaten that green, then now it's a different situation. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. I genuinely don't know what else to say. But I'm sick of seeing black people die. Spike Lee did a video, Radio Raheem, Eric Garner, and now George Floyd. All of them. Talk about life imitating art. At this point, I need everybody to understand. You need to look to see if your favorite brands haven't spoken out. You need to re-examine your the way you spend your money. I have not seen Gucci talk about nothing yet, but some of these same brands that don't have a problem putting monkeys on shirts and dressing little black kids up, talking about we don't see a problem with it, or misappropriating black history and putting it on stuff and making them a whole bunch of money, making a mockery out of who we are and our history. You ain't heard nothing from them yet. So are you going to pull your money, your financial support? Because that's what they answer to. They don't answer to nothing other than money. So as long as you going to keep spending your money on Michael Kors bags and all of it, until you start pulling your financial support away from these people, we're going to keep getting the same thing we get. And we got to just stop. We just got to stop. We got to stop. We got to stop living in this fantasy world thinking, it ain't going to happen. That's a lie. Stop deluding yourself. Stop lying to yourself thinking that it ain't. Yeah. We here because we rather believe a lie than the truth. That's staring us right in our face. So if you're a Christian over here talking about we need to be peaceful because that's what Jesus would do. Did you miss that part where Jesus flipped that table over in church? Did you miss the part where Jesus is part of the triune God? So you must have skipped over the whole Old Testament. And I'm talking about prior to the 400 years of silence between the Old Testament and New Testament. All of that, all of that. You missed that point where the Holy Ghost is straight fire. It's like fire on the inside of your body. You miss all of that. You missed all the righteous fear. You missed all of that where God was sending fire from heaven and water. Like you missed all of that. You missed all of them plagues that came through Egypt. All of those plagues that some of them we seeing right now. You missed all of them plagues. You missed all of that. You missed all of that. Go sit down. Because right now, quite frankly, I need Old Testament God. I need the God that didn't play no games. I need God that said we're finna wipe out a whole nation because they wicked and they evil and you can't reason with them. Because the reality is you cannot reason with evil. You can't. Stop trying to, because guess what? All evil understands is I want what I want and and it's never gonna be enough. That's why people are greedy. That's why they don't care about you. Black people, specifically black men, are not seen as a human being. Why? It's in our Constitution that at one point, post-slavery, a black man, we ain't gonna get into the fact that women, because women didn't have no rights. A black man was 3/5 of a person. How in the blue hell do you reduce a whole human being to a fraction? To a fraction. 3/5 of a person? A tiny fraction. A whole black man was 3/5 of a person. That's how you and that's in our history, and it's in there. A whole black man was 3/5 of a person in this country. When Lincoln signed in the Emancipation Proclamation, it still took 6 months for it to come in. Texas, I think, was the last state to set slaves free. That's why black people celebrate Juneteenth and not the 4th of July. Juneteenth. That's our Freedom Day. Know your history. And we were still 3/5 of a person. My mama was 1 year old when the civil rights movement began. And to hear her talk about how she couldn't believe that she never thought she would ever see the same stuff she saw when she was a little girl happening again. And it's 2020. It is 2020. And my mom and so many others like her are in awe and disbelief and shock and amazement and pain because they didn't think they would ever see what they saw when they were children again as grown people, and see their children and their grandchildren have to go through that. But here we are going through it again because somewhere along the way we accepted crumbs instead of saying we want full equity. It's 2 schools of thought when it comes to segregation. It was good and it was bad. I don't care what side of the school of thought you're on. At the end of the day, this is where we are. And it's not just in America. Black people are like the most hated race on the earth. And it's because we got more melanin, but we got so much genius and creativity. And at the end of the day, you hate that God blessed us with it. But guess what? We didn't choose it. We didn't choose it. We don't get to choose what we look like when we come on this earth. We don't choose that. And to be hated on because of that is an issue. And I can say I experienced it when I was a child. I was in the elementary school. I was like in kindergarten or 1st grade, and I will never forget this conversation as long as I live. I sat there and I did not understand. And my mother is sitting there trying to explain prejudice and racism to me. And I'm looking at her like, but I don't understand. What did I do? Why did she treat me like that? From a substitute teacher. And baby, I thank God for my grandmother, because when she was done, that woman didn't work nowhere in that school system ever again. Because she didn't know. My grandmother was a secretary of the NAACP for my local chapter. She didn't play no games. My mama didn't even have a chance to come raise hell because my grandmother shut it down. How did my grandmother find out? Because another teacher called and said, this woman did XYZ to your grandchild. You better come up here and get her. And next thing I know, my grandmother was up at that school, Lincoln Elementary in Riviera Beach, Florida. Yes, I'm from the raw, baby. If you know anything about Florida, I'm from the raw. Now, it's not Riviera Beach like y'all want to call it now because y'all gentrifying. It was the raw. I'm from the raw, right up the street from where I am right now. And yeah, I didn't understand it. I'm a kid. I didn't understand. I'm like in kindergarten, 1st grade. What did I do that this lady is so mean to me? because of black skin. Lady, you in the wrong place because the raw is 90% black. The whole class had 3 white kids, and all of them were trailer park. All of them were trailer park. My grandmother, when I say she shut it down, everybody knew my grandmother. Everybody knew her name. When they saw her come up to that school, they was like, oh, Lord, what happened? She pulled me and my sister out. My mama didn't have a chance to shut the school down. But I was a child. Don't talk to me about, oh, racism. That's a lie from the pit of hell. Racism, they don't care if you're a child. So that little picture about the police officer talking to the little kid about what you want to be when you grow up, and he say alive, that makes me angry. You want to know why? Don't talk to our children. Because as a child, I experienced hate and racism as a child, and you don't care. You don't care. They don't care. And I'm not saying it's all police officers, but I can tell you from my personal experience, they don't care. In a lot of ways, I've never had a positive experience with a police officer that was white, ever. Even when I didn't do nothing wrong. It's very antagonistic. Very. Because when it comes to racism, they weaponize fear against you. And now that we have weaponized fear because we figured it out, and we weaponize fear against you, and now we're holding you accountable. Oh my God, no, it's wrong. Don't do that. Why? No, baby, no. No. We all day finna do this because we need answers. It's no longer an option to be over here sitting around like, no, we need answers. And we need it to stop. And the only way to stop is to act. Because when we do it peacefully, you don't respond to it. So I don't want to hear no. You ain't walked not even a mile in our shoes. You ain't walked half a piece of it. Tonight, the panel, we're going to talk about all of this. We're going to get into it. I invite you to join us on my Facebook page. Go to it. If you want to get alerted when we get started, like my Facebook page. We're going to get into this because I promise you, if you don't think race and racism is going to affect your relationships, you a lie. You fooling yourself. Because trust me, it's hitting your door. It's hitting everybody's door. I just read an article last week where a white woman, she and her husband adopted 2 black sons. She has 2 teenage black sons, and she was upset about the Amy Cooper in Central Park because she said, this woman, she says, my boys, I love them as if they came from my own body. And the problem is white women like Amy Cooper who look like me will see my sons but won't even know I'm their mother and kill them as if they're nothing. We did this and we need to stop it. Absolutely. I have a colleague who was just saying there's no place for this and that there aren't white people who feel like this. But the problem is it's not enough of those white people who don't share the sentiment of the racists speaking up. If you are a white person and you disagree, you need to speak up now, because this is where we say, piss or get off the pot. Like my mom them used to say back in the day, baby, you got to piss or get off the pot. What does that mean? You got to do something. You got to make a decision one way or the other. What side of this you going to be on? Because if you choose to stay silent, your silence is consent at this point. You okay with it because you're not doing anything to stop it. Ain't nobody saying you got to be out there marching because maybe that's not you, but use your whiteness to open up and denounce the behavior of other white people. If you disagree, you got to come out. It's great that you have conversations with your kids and talk to them, but you got to come out and talk about it publicly, baby, because it's in our face. Too many black people are dead because of this. It's too many Amy Coopers because it's too many Amy Coopers. It's one too many of them. Okay. It's too many white women out here lying, and because they lying, destroying black lives. Okay. It's too many. It's too many. You can't sit here and love to experience all that Black people have to offer. You want to slide up into, you want to enjoy the sweetness that's between a Black woman's thighs or a Black man's thighs, but you don't want to open up your mouth and speak out against what's happening. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. So, join us tonight at 6:00 on Facebook. I gotta go. But join us tonight, 6:00 on my Facebook page, Eastern Time. Me, Troy, Horace, Epiphany, Jeff. We're gonna get into it tonight. And we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna be talking about not just George Floyd, but just the whole issue of race and racism, race relations, and start having conversation. If you know anything about us and how we talk, we know how to agree to disagree. All we ask is that, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, don't come with no foolishness, because this ain't the time. We see the bait and we're not gonna take it. I promise you. We'll see you in the comments, but I promise you, we're not going to take the bait. We're here to have a healthy conversation about this. We know emotions are going to fly, but we're here to get it out. It's a safe space to get it out, but we need to have that conversation so people know. So if you got questions, if you feel some type of way, you want to talk, you want to get in, come and join us tonight at 6:00 on my Facebook. See you guys. Have a great day.